Okay, we're continuing the conversation about effective nonviolent resistance against authoritarianism and the skills and techniques that I learned in the nonviolent resistance boot camp that I went to this past weekend with a couple hundred other Oregonians. Just a reminder, if you're watching this on YouTube, please consider going to the video description and clicking on the Act Blue link to help offset the costs of the training that hundreds of us received over the weekend and that I am sharing with you here. If you hear noise in the background of this video, that's my old dude, Apollo. He's chilling with us for this video. Also, just to remind folks, this is part of a series, so there are videos before and after this one. And eventually, when I'm done filming the whole thing, I will put up a long compilation on YouTube, because I often get requests when I do a series, like, can you put that all together in one long video so that I can just send my friends one link and they can watch everything. Oh, we're tired. Okay, so I want to talk about the 4 principles of nonviolence that we discussed in this workshop. Now, if you're familiar with nonviolent direct action and you're familiar with the civil rights movement in the United States, you may be aware of the fact that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had 6 basic principles of nonviolence. They are: nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. Nonviolence seeks to win friendship and understanding. Nonviolence seeks to defeat injustice, not people. Nonviolence holds that suffering can educate and transform. Nonviolence chooses love instead of hate. And nonviolence believes that the universe is on the side of justice. Dr. King's 6 core principles are really important for us to sit with and think through and let them help inform our choice in how we engage in nonviolent direct action today. But for the purpose of this training, we're going to talk about 4 principles of nonviolent resistance organizing that are informed by Dr. King's work but are slightly different. As always, I will be referring to my copious quantity of notes that I took during the training this weekend, so forgive me if I'm having to pivot and read. Principle number 1, power depends on consent. This is precisely what I'm talking about when I'm referencing the protests down at the ICE facility here in Portland. Governments and institutions rely on our cooperation in order to function. When enough people withdraw their consent by refusing to obey, refusing to cooperate, or by publicly resisting. Remember in the last video I talked about how nonviolent direct action can be acts of omission or acts of commission. So we can refuse to obey or we can choose to publicly resist. Those are both nonviolent direct action choices. When we engage in nonviolent direct action, we withdraw our consent and we shift the power dynamic in the system, right? So the power of the people is greater than the people in power. They can only govern with our consent. And when we look at authoritarians like Trump, Trump never had a mandate from the people. He never had even 50% of the American people behind him. So the only way that they can keep their illegitimate grasp on power is by making sure that you don't understand yours, right? They want to make you feel powerless. They want to keep you ignorant of the fact that it is the people who have the power. And that when we come together and we collectively choose to withdraw our consent to participate in that power dynamic, that they cannot stay in control. Please understand that to embrace the reality of principle number 1, that power depends upon consent, that we have to have courage. We have to be brave, but not foolish, because our power comes from collectively all of us standing up together. And when you're just one person in a system where those in power are trying to falsely tell you that you are powerless, that you are alone, it takes a significant measure of courage to stand up. But once you do, your neighbor will see you stand up. Courage is catching. And when we're all courageous together, that's where we have our power. Principle number 2, and this is one of the reasons that I am such a strong proponent of nonviolent resistance. Nonviolent action is both ethical and strategic. Some people choose nonviolence because they believe that violence is wrong. Others choose it because history shows that it works better. Right? I have all of my ethical and moral reasons why I think it is wrong to commit violence against other people. But I'm in the business of winning, y'all. I'm in the business of us stopping the fascists. So I want to embrace tactics that are effective. And I really appreciated that our trainer made the distinction here, right? We can all come to nonviolence for different reasons. You may come because of your religious conviction. You may come because you understand that it is a strategic choice. We can all have our different reasons. That should not be a barrier to us partnering together, right? Both religious and secular groups can and should be partnering together. We focus on discipline, we focus on safety, we focus on strategy. And we can work together despite different motivations to employ non-violent methods to resist and be effective in getting the job done. The key here with the second principle is discipline, right? Losing our discipline distracts from our credibility and it undermines the movement. It turns public support against us. We must maintain our discipline. In order to uphold our core principle that nonviolence is ethical and strategic, we must have self-discipline. This ties into a lot of my content around emotion regulation, right? Making sure that we are centered in wise mind and that we are not allowing the regime to push us into emotion mind, where we may do something because our emotions are really escalated and we take actions that we then later regret when we are in a more centered state. Distress tolerance and emotion regulation skills are, in my opinion, crucial to being involved in nonviolent resistance. Okay, principle number 3, discipline under pressure manifests safety. Prioritizing safety is an act of mutual care. We have to care for each other if we are going to organize and effectively engage in nonviolent resistance. Do you see how these principles start to connect to each other? A prioritization of discipline, building those distress tolerance skills so that we can stay really grounded. That helps us stay focused on safety. When we fail to maintain our discipline, we put others in our group at risk. Please understand that nonviolent direct action requires preparation and a shared commitment to staying calm and focused and organized under stress. Our commitment to nonviolent discipline means that we have to also have concrete safety practices in place. We plan for risks, we game out everything. We make sure that our participants are highly trained, we deploy safety marshals, and we teach everybody de-escalation techniques and we use them. Investing in habits and training around self-discipline, around collective discipline and commitment to our values helps keep all of us safe, and it strengthens our group cohesion. It also protects the credibility of our entire movement. Right? The chant is, who keeps us safe? We keep us safe. We are focused on our collective safety. And that safety comes through preparation, strategy, and discipline. Right? We have to have this focus on mutual care, on making sure that we are prioritizing everybody in the group. We are thinking through how we can keep each other safe. And that leads us to the fourth core principle, which is that solidarity builds strength. Think back to our first core principle. Power depends upon consent. When we collectively withdraw our consent, we have tremendous power as the American people. We are strongest when we act together, when we engage in mutual care, preparation, and we have good communication with each other. That makes it possible for regular, ordinary, everyday people to stand up against seemingly all-powerful regimes. All 4 of these core principles create a positive feedback loop with each other, right? When we prioritize strategy and self-discipline, we are helping make it easier for us to build safety practices that make sure that we are caring for each other. The more we care for each other and we prioritize each other's safety, the more we build solidarity and collective strength. The more we have collective strength, going back to principle number 1, the more we are able to exercise our power as a group, withdraw our consent, and shift the power dynamic that exists. So I really encourage you to think about how those 4 core principles, power depends upon consent, nonviolence is both ethical and strategic, discipline under pressure manifests safety, and solidarity builds strength. How those 4 principles work together to help us build an effective nonviolent resistance movement. Okay, please come back for the next video because I want to talk about different methods of nonviolent direct action. We're going to get into a little Gene Sharp in the next video, so please come back.